problem and a solution. My name is Jarius Carter, and I'm here to tell you how one local organization has a solution to all of the Southern pet problems.
Preserving historic places. I'm Jared Shields. Find out what some Mississippi State students are doing to raise awareness for aging buildings.
Starkville civil rights activist was honored on Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Brethren left it for 30 years.
That story in a moment, but first, some women can now abort their baby up to the day of birth.
Proponents of the New York Reproductive Health Act said it was created so women in the state can still be able to have abortions even if Roe v. Wade is overturned. Under the new law, abortions can be performed after 24 weeks if the fetus is not viable or when necessary to protect the life of the mother. Some are hailing this as a victory for women's rights, but many locals say the new law is horrendous. But what does this mean for Mississippi? The new bill defines a person, when referring to homicide, as a human being who has been born and is alive. Tanya Britton, board member of Pro-Life Mississippi, is not in favor of the Reproductive Health Act.
So that's kind of what's happening. For the state of Mississippi, I think that if Mississippi is truly pro-life, as far as unborn children are concerned, they will go on and pass a personhood amendment. That amendment failed several years ago, but that is something that I think that we need to work for now, because you don't want a majority of states to pass abortion laws like New York has done.
We reached out to numerous local pro-choice advocates, but none of them would go on camera. A man charged in the 1990 sexual assault and murder of 2 women has pled not guilty. Yesterday, 52-year-old Michael Wayne Devon was indicted on charges of capital murder and sexual assault. Devon can now face either the death penalty or life in prison without parole. As we told you last fall, Devon was not a suspect in the case until modern DNA testing allowed police to identify him. A local man was arrested after police say he was stealing from the pizza place where he worked. According to Columbus Police Chief Fred Shelton, 23-year-old Anthony Reagan Malone of McCool was arrested January 15th on embezzlement charges. Police say Malone created fraudulent payment documents. Malone was booked in the Lowndes County Adult Detention Center. Columbus PD won't identify the name of the restaurant where Malone worked. 36-year-old Rayshon Deandra Connor of Columbus was arrested on the morning of January 15th and has now been charged with domestic violence, trafficking of controlled substances, and possession with intent to distribute. According to police, Connor was arrested in East Columbus after a domestic dispute. When police responded, they found illegal drugs at the scene. Connor was booked at the Lowndes County Adult Detention Center. Two people in Columbus have been arrested and charged with aggravated assault after a verbal altercation Sunday afternoon. Police say that the incident started over a social media post and that no one was injured in the altercation. The incident happened around 2 p.m. in East Columbus. According to reports, a weapon was discharged during the argument, but no one was struck. The names of the individuals involved have not been released. In other news, according to United States Special Representative for Afghanistan, Zalmay Khalilzad, negotiators from the U.S. and Taliban have settled in principle on the framework for a peace deal that could possibly lead to the end of the war in Afghanistan. Khalilzad has stated that the peace talks are more productive than they have been in the past. Multiple outlets are reporting that the plan for this framework involves the Taliban agreeing to prevent Afghanistan from being a hub for terrorism in exchange for the withdrawal of the U.S. military. Both a ceasefire and U.S. military withdrawal were discussed Monday, but neither side has come to a final agreement.
You know, Jared, you might think that college students would love to cuddle with a cat or a dog.
But workers at the local Humane Society say that's not always the case. As Take 30's Jarius Carter reports, they say college students actually contribute to a serious animal overpopulation problem in our state.
We have animals that are surrendered. So like whenever an owner can't take care of them anymore, one thing we see with a lot of college students is that they'll adopt an animal, and then when they graduate, they're like, hey, I can't take it back home, I can't take it to this new place I'm moving to, it's not going to work with my internship, and they bring it back.
According to DoSomething.org, homeless animals outnumber homeless people 5 to 1, and the main reasons animals are in shelters, owners either give them up or animal controls find them in the street. Some pet owners may ask, how can they fix this problem that is running rampant?
I think spaying and neutering is one of the best things that a responsible pet owner can do, especially if they don't have any intention of breeding their animal.
And with that, the Humane Society is now offering services for spade and neutering for all pets.
That is kind of like the key word to the overpopulation. Is what do you do? Is you try to regulate the reproducing of more animals, but so that would definitely help.
And with that, spading and neutering pets will be the first step to the Oktibbeha County Humane Society in eliminating the epidemic of animal homelessness. I'm Jarius Carter with Take 30 News.
The Humane Society also offers pet babysitting for owners who want to go on a vacation and not have to worry about their pets while they're gone.
Why are 2 mothers traveling the nation to speak to Greek students? On Wednesday night, the Mississippi State chapters of Alpha Delta Pi and Sigma Alpha Epsilon hosted Stand to Stop Hazing, a lecture on hazing prevention. The guest speakers for the event were Rayanne Gruber, mother of Max Gruber, and Evelyn Piazza, mother of Tim Piazza. Both mothers lost their sons while they were pledging fraternities. Since their deaths, their mothers have traveled across the country speaking at colleges and have worked with the National Interfraternity Council to create strict legislation against hazing.
After Max passed away, we just knew we needed to reach out and talk to the young adults and get this hazing culture to change, because no young lives should be lost because of hazing. It's a ridiculous thing to do, and your lives are too important.
Camp Kesem is a national camp centered around children of cancer patients, and they are looking to expand their chapter across the nation. MSU was chosen as one of 12 finalists that have been entered into an online election between the schools. The election is currently running and will conclude this Thursday. For organizers, getting Camp Kesem to MSU is very personal.
One of my sons was diagnosed when he was young, and he had a sibling who didn't have anything like this at the time, and I think that he would have really benefited from having a peer group like this.
To vote for Camp Kesem, go to vote.campkesem.org. Coming up, we get a look at the work the MSU Digital Center has as its next edition.
And later we catch up with an Oktibbeha.
A baby's arrival can be one of the most... It can also be one of the most anxious, especially if the child's development is hindered by medical challenges that create more questions than answers. At Mississippi State University, we're groundbreakers in the study of CHARGE syndrome, a genetic condition that leads to a host of life-threatening birth defects. Our research teams are uncovering breakthroughs in treatment and prevention with a goal of greater understanding that leads to better care. We're also providing crucial support resources for parents and helping physicians around the globe gain awareness so symptoms can be detected and addressed earlier. By engaging in this innovative analysis and therapy, we're not only improving outcomes, we're unlocking brighter futures.
Libraries are usually quiet places, but that hasn't recently been the case at Mississippi State.
That's right. Take 30's Isaiah Smith takes us behind the curtain to show us who is making all the noise and why.
The Digital Media Center is going through some brand new renovations right behind me on the other side of this wall. In a partnership with the School of Communication and Max South Broadband, the Digital Media Center will be bringing to you a state-of-the-art television studio for students. This new addition to the center will be a very useful resource for students, especially communication students. It will be a big space with desks and cameras. It will have a green screen wall and also a control room including the switcher, multi-monitor, graphics machine, audio machine, and much more. This area will also have a classroom for students to meet, discuss material, then do their daily newscasts. Next will be a one-button studio, which is a simplified recording studio. Instead of having multiple cameras, there will just be one camera, making it very simple and easy to use.
Max South is a partner in this. They have provided us with some funding that they have been they gave us a couple years ago. They started a couple years ago. It's $440,000 over an 8-year period. So they're spreading that over 8 years, and we'll actually end up renaming the Digital Media Center to the Max South Broadband Digital Media Center.
I just think they'll have a longer opportunity to kind of get their hands on it and get used to it and get comfortable with it before they go out into the workforce.
The Digital Media Center has confirmed that the hours for this new renovation will be the same as normal business hours.
The Max South Broadband Digital Media Center is expected to open by fall of this year. A new way to ride. The Lime Bike Share program that was brought to Mississippi State and Starkville last year now has a new addition. Electric scooters are now options for users. The scooter, known as the Lime S, can be unlocked for $1 and has a cost of 15 cents per minute. Students can now be seen zooming across campus, be it on a bike or electric scooter. For more information on Lime Bike, visit www.limebike.com.
They help people who need it, and now they are in desperate need of help. Leaders at the J.L. King Center in Starkville, which provides adult education and workforce training classes, received notice they'll no longer receive the grant money they need to stay open. The center is one of many groups that recently lost grant money due to federal funding cuts. The community has rallied to support the center, but teachers there are still worried about the center's future and the future of their students.
It really puts our students in a difficult position. We have several students from all walks of life who are working on either GED, resume building, but also some who are just coming to do personal enrichment or development.
The funding means a lot. We're based in a community over here where people don't have much. This program here helps a whole lot of the low income.
When we come back, we'll take a look at our Campus Connect weather forecast.
If you want to have a big impact in the world, you have to start small. At Mississippi State University, we're starting in the Gulf of Mexico, where a small but crucial barrier island is quickly fading from view. Millions of state dollars are spent dredging sand to replace the vanishing shores of Deer Island, but we think we can do better. We're applying cutting-edge sediment tracers to map the flow of currents and predict the course of sand that's carried out to sea, a process that will help us better understand the drastic transformation taking place. While this is a more cost-effective way to prevent the loss of an island, it's about so much more than saving dollars. It's about taking the first step in a long process to preserve our environment and secure a better, brighter tomorrow. We might be starting small, but rest assured, at Mississippi State University, we're dreaming big. The sense of place. We all have it, often grown from deep roots in small-town communities. At Mississippi State University, our Carl Small Town Center is strengthening these ties. With nearly 40 years of making a difference, we're revitalizing communities into welcoming places to work, live, and congregate. By weaving together the best pieces of our past with modern technology and amenities, we're creating the hometowns of the future. Places where lifetime memories can be made, where you have all the things you need, along with all the things you want. Through partnerships with our communities, we're identifying improvement opportunities, recommending paths forward, and creating the plans for a better tomorrow.
Welcome back. Today we are seeing a bit warmer temperatures than yesterday, but still pretty cold. Now let's take a look at our Campus Connect forecast. Temperatures will be warming up a bit throughout the weekend and into next week. We expect some sunshine and a chance of rain into early next week. It is currently 36 degrees outside with a 60% humidity. For an updated forecast, remember to visit weather.msstate.edu.
Recently, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was celebrated. But as Take 30's Brevin Luckett shows us in Starkville, a local civil rights leader was celebrated too.
Monday, a Starkville civil rights activist was honored on Martin Luther King Day, Wilson Ashford Sr.
I feel like that's a real good thing for the community. It gives younger kids, teenage kids, something to look up to, seeing that someone, you know, that was their aunt, grandmother, mother, whoever it may be, was actually part of something that was a bigger movement, bigger than themselves.
We found one Starkville resident downtown who had participated in the celebrations recently. Arnett Ashford Johnson spoke in front of Starkville civilians at a ceremony where her father was added to the honorees of the park.
Well, honestly, it'd probably be good if she went to some local high schools, some local elementary schools, and maybe gave a speech, gave a little presentation, just, you know, showing them and telling them that even they can make, you know, even a small change can make a big impact in the end.
Ashford was a World War II veteran and a member of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, NAACP.
I feel like we should hold Black History Month at a really high standard and like really do something every day of the year to celebrate Black History Month, not just during the month of February. Really, because Black History is something that should be honored and heralded, and instead of just celebrated for 1 month out the year.
If you are interested in visiting Unity Park, you can find it at 101 Dr. Douglas L. Conner Drive, Starkville, Mississippi, 39759. Reporting from Unity Park, my name is Brevin Luckett.
Unity Park is open to the public daily. Don't go away, we'll be right back with Take 30 Sports.
The sense of place. We all have it. Often grown from deep roots in small-town communities. At Mississippi State University, our Carl Small Town Center is strengthening these ties. With nearly 40 years of making a difference, we're revitalizing communities into welcoming places to work, live, and congregate. By weaving together the best pieces of our past with modern technology and amenities, we're creating the hometowns of the future. Places where lifetime memories can be made, where you have all the things you need, along with all the things you want. Through partnerships with our communities, we're identifying improvement opportunities, recommending paths forward, and creating the plans for a better tomorrow. It's been said that where there's water, there's life. For some parts of the world, that simple truth has never been more evident. Fields aren't getting the water they need. Fertilizer is washing into nearby rivers and streams, and harm to the environment is rising. At Mississippi State University, we're working to change this. By designing and implementing better irrigation solutions, we're collecting, conserving, and recycling nutrient-rich water, allowing us to reduce waste, secure the livelihoods of farmers, and pave the way for a safer, cleaner environment for fish and wildlife. But we're not stopping there. We're taking the process developed in our own backyard and applying it to a global stage. So whether it's Israel, the Philippines, or Indianola, Mississippi, we're ensuring simple truths endure, that where there's water, there's life. And where there's ingenuity at work, there's Mississippi State University.
Good evening. My name is Brevin Lucky for Take 30 Sports. I'm one of the sports anchors that you will be seeing on Wednesdays. Last night, the men's basketball team suffered another loss to a conference rival in Alabama. This was the fourth loss that the Bulldogs had suffered this month, despite freshman Reggie Perry having the best game of this season. Perry shot 75% from the field off the bench in an attempt to lead the Bulldogs in a comeback win over the Alabama Crimson Tide. Despite starting the season off strong as a top 25 team in basketball, after this loss, the men's team may fail to maintain the top 25 ranking. The Mississippi State Bulldogs faced up against the Ole Miss Rebels again this season. This time, it was the women's basketball team who crushed another opponent this season, despite the loss of starting power forward Chloe Bibby. Saturday, the matchup between the SEC rivals was over after the first quarter, where the Rebels were held to only 10 points. Ole Miss forward LaKara Salter is a senior graduate transfer who previously played for the Lady Bulldogs. Salter had an average game of 13 points and 4 rebounds, while Tiara McCowan had a monster double-double with 33 points and 13 rebounds. Ariel Howard also chipped in with 16 points and 11 rebounds. The Lady Bulldogs will travel to Baton Rouge to face up against the LSU Tigers. That's it for sports. When we return, we'll learn how some students are trying to preserve history. You're watching Take 30 News. We'll be right back.
You know the scene in those popular TV crime shows when the investigators show up? The one where they scratch their heads while trying to figure out who committed the homicide and when? At Mississippi State University, we're solving mysteries behind real-life crime scenes with forensic research that's a first of its kind. Teaming with microbiologists from around the country, we're examining microscopic bacteria that can help solve real murders. So far, our partnership with a major metropolitan medical examiner is yielding results with more than 200 real-life crime samples analyzed. We're learning how microbiomes change and relocate, uncovering evidence in criminal investigations by better pinpointing time of death. Way more exciting than being a TV detective. We're finding crucial answers when they're needed most. Solving mysteries with science, that's worth watching.
Several Mississippi State University architecture students have been working to raise awareness for aging buildings. I got to visit the exhibit where their projects were on display.
This Art in Public Places exhibit was held January 24th in the Greater Starkville Development Partnership to bring attention to several locations in need of repair or improvement.
I think they, in a way, sort of help portray Mississippi's, not only our architectural history, but the history of Mississippi itself as it's embodied in architecture, is what I feel. And sort of preserving that for future generations to, observe and learn about is what I feel is important. Yeah.
The students hope to get at least one of the buildings added to the list of the 10 most endangered historic places in Mississippi. The Endangered Places list is published by the Mississippi Heritage Trust and the Mississippi Department of Archives and History, and it includes locations in Mississippi that are believed to be worth saving or repairing.
Now, the students are trying to draw awareness to buildings like this one, this old Masonic temple that was constructed in 1902 here in Columbus, Mississippi, and stands at the corner of Catfish Alley and Main Street.
Project leader Matthew Murphy said that he hoped getting a building added to the list would encourage the surrounding community to pour time and care into restoring the building and giving the building a new community use.
These kinds of buildings in this type of shape, I'd say, is a pretty common thing in Mississippi. Buildings like this and in similar condition are pretty much about everywhere, and I think bringing these sort of special ones to light helps sort of preserve history, I guess, in a way.
The purpose of having a building or location added to the list is to raise public and community awareness about the endangered place.
A local man is gaining popularity because of his pet pig. Clifford Kelly of Oktibbeha County has a big story about how his big pig, and he'll tell whoever wants to stop by and listen. The 1,400-pound pig named Bear lives outside behind Kelly's home.
I came across Bear. I had known a friend, you know. He had a sow that had little piglets. You know, when I first got her, he weighed about 25 pounds. A lot of people, man, that came through, man, just to see her, just take pictures of her, man. They just enjoy it, man. They just enjoy it. They're doing it because they said the biggest one they ever seen right here.
If you'd like to meet Bear, Kelly invites you to come by. They live on Clifford Lane, just off Rock Hill Road in northern Oktibbeha County. The date for the second annual Mississippi State New Narrative Festival and Conference have been announced. The event will be March 22nd through 23rd at the Mill at MSU. The event focuses on the changing narrative of Mississippi and other southern states. It explores the way we show, tell, and share stories and consists of speakers, live music, special events, and local food. Confirmed speakers include the son of one of the first missionaries to Japan after World War II, Ken Askew, Colombian author and Alabama native Charles McNair, and a concert by songwriter and recording artist Steve Azar. For more information on the event, they can be found at www.newnarrative.festival.msstate.edu. That is it for today's news. From here at Take 30, I'm Anna Elizabeth Byes.
And I'm Jared Shields. Good night, everyone.